Good morning. It's Friday, time for coffee and a card. And hopefully, you learn a little bit more than just making a card. I try to throw in a lot of extra tips. I am Lorraine Sish, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I am welcoming both the live viewers and the replay watchers. So you can leave a comment, please, and say hello. That would be wonderful. And we will, while we're waiting for some people to join on live, I'm going to be putting together the decals on the stamp set for textured notes. This is what we're going to be using today. And I wanted to show you how I put on the decals because some people are not sure, oh, how do we do this? There are directions in here, picture directions, but I have another way of doing it that I like better, and some other demonstrators are doing this as well. So while we're waiting for some people to come on, I've split my camera and I'm going to show you how I do this. It goes a lot easier, more accurately, and quicker. Easier makes quicker too, right? All right, so like I said, we're using Textured Notes, which is an online exclusive. It's fairly new. It did come out just before the before May 6th, before the new online exclusive and before the new annual catalog went live. But this has just been something I've wanted to play with for a while. So I decided to show you this. I have been using the Textured Notes dies that coordinate with this. Good morning, Lydia. And it has a lot of different patterns in those rectangular frames. So we'll be using that as well. So while we're waiting for some people, I'm going to show you what I do. Your stamps, I mean, a lot of you know this already, but for some new people, or maybe you'll see a little trick. Here's what I do. Okay, your piece, your rubber stamps come all together. They're perforated. I remember the days where this was just one sheet and we had to cut them out. That was not too fun because sometimes we'd undercut the foam a little bit and then you wouldn't get a good stamp. So eventually Stampin' Up! Did do this, and we were all good. Joan, you are not late. Welcome. We just got on. We're just waiting for some people. And meantime, I'm putting together the decals of my stamps. So number one, I could show people what I do. And number two, I'm using these today, so I have to do this. I haven't used the stamp set yet. So what I like to do is I take all of these out first. Okay, like I said, they're perforated. You just pop them out. A lot easier than the cutting we used to do. Oh boy, did that hurt our hands, and they weren't so accurate because if this foam here isn't straight perpendicular to the stamp, if you accidentally undercut it where the rubber overhangs the foam, you're not going to get that support. So that was something we had to make sure we did not do. Now, some people throw this away. I keep mine, and this is, I peel off this back because this is a little bit more sticky, but you don't have to. You can keep that backing on. It's not a big deal. But I like to keep this in here for two reasons. One is if I don't get a stamp back in there, I can see right away that it's missing, and I want to make sure I get it back in here before I put this back on my shelf. And secondly, it helps to hold those stamps in there without them falling off. Okay, it's more secure. You can just put them on the plastic here. They will stick, but by stuffing them in here a little bit, they hold on a little bit better. So because this takes so little time, I'm going to do these all right in front of you right now. All right, I already did my thank you, so I'm going to show you. I put that right back in there, and it's definitely secure. Sometimes after a while, the decals might not feel so sticky because it's picked up dust from the fibers of the paper, or maybe from your work table from using it, maybe oils on your fingers, and you have to clean them off. So sometimes they get a little less sticky, and if you don't have this outside rubber piece to hold them on, then they might fall off or be loose in the box, or when you open it, they fall out. So I just like having this. It's a little more secure, but mostly to see what's missing or not. Okay, so then you have your sheet of decals. The instructions tell you to peel off the backing of each piece and then place, pull off the backing of your rubber as well, and then place it on here. And then when you pull it up, the decal will be on there. I found I was not able to line it up properly. The shadow of me trying to put it on there would get in the way. So I actually figured this out, and then I saw other demonstrators had figured it out. So I pull the whole decal off. All right, not just the backing, the whole decal off, stick it on a block, then peel off the backing. And hey, good morning, Joanne and Betty and Michelle, Kathleen. Nice to see all of you. Sorry if I missed anybody else up there. Okay. It's split in the middle to make it easier to pull off, so you're not trying to pick it up from the end. So it's either split horizontally or vertically. You'll see on each stamp it might be a little different. Once it's on your block, then you just put your rubber stamp down the way you're going to be stamping, and you can see through your lucite block. Is there hair on there? Or is that just a scratch on the mark on the block? Okay, so you just hover over to line it up just right, and it comes up perfectly. From there, you just pull it off. Make sure, especially the first time, that you get your nail underneath the decal so that you're not pulling the foam away from that decal, and then you put it in your set. Look how nice and quick and easy that was. I used to take forever to do this, to try to get it straight, and then it would be crooked. I'd be very upset. All right, so here we go. Next one, big one. Pull that backing off. Pull the whole decal off. And take the backing off now. And does anybody else do their decals this way? Has anybody struggled with this before without doing it this way? Okay, so it's great because you can just watch the edges, get closer and closer, make whatever adjustments you need to make, and then bam, it's done. I love it. Get under there, and there it goes. Okay, beautiful weather now. That's half of the week. Okay, we have a rainy day here right now. Good morning from Arkansas, Nancy. Welcome. Terry does it this way too, so easy. Thank you for verifying that. It is so much better. So much better. I wish Stampin' Up! Would put it that way on their stamp cases, right? You struggled, Patty? Yeah. And then because it's not the photopolymer, of course, you can't see through the entire stamp. And then if it's off, something like a leaf or something like that, not such a big deal. But if you have a sentiment that's off, it's not fun. I would always test it on my grid paper first to see, okay, is it straight, or do I have to consciously say, okay, raise the right side up just like a 1/16 of an inch to get it straight, and then you're still holding your breath that it's going to be right. Okay, so now we've got this little weave pattern here that matches up with some of the designer paper. And hi, Nadine. Insert the rubber stamp right into the decal sheet. Never had it. Well, I'm glad that works for you, Nadine. I would have trouble because I think mostly my shadow would get in the way, and I couldn't see if it's exactly right, and I would it wasn't working for me. But this, I can be way more accurate. But you know what? You have to do what works for you. Okay, so this pattern here is like a little hint of that woven sort of wicker, or I guess it's not really wicker. I don't know what you call that weave that would be on maybe on a chair or tabletop someplace. Okay, bam. And we are almost done here. And then this one has a split right in the middle, up and down. And we can see what direction it goes based on the label, the decal. Boom. Okay, Susan does it this way. Let's make okay. Okay, thanks, Lydia. I'm glad that works for you. Okay, now one that you do, if you're have a little OCD in you, then doing something like this circle might take you a couple extra minutes to make sure you're doing it the right way. Basically, it's a circle. It's not going to matter a whole lot where the edges are. You're just going to stamp it anyway. It's not like, sometimes there's a flower that has a lot of petals that are similar, and you're trying to line up, okay, well, this petal is thinner and that one is bigger and blah, 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 which sometimes that might not matter either. But someone like me, I just kind of want to line it up the way it should be. So when I'm looking at this, I'm seeing, because this is that circular weave here, some of the edges are a little faded or cut off. So I want to try to line up my decal with that. So I'm going to consciously think about it. Somebody else, it's not going to matter probably, but that's just who I am. So I am going to look now. Here, there's a little bit of like a V indentation, which I see is there. Okay, so I'm going to put that one toward the top of my block so I kind of know where it is for starters. And then when I put the rubber underneath, I'm going to try to match it up as best as I can, because of course I can't see through exactly, but at least I'll kind of know where that is. Okay, so I'm going to hold it like this, and I see that part is right there. And then, where was it? Okay, that was here. And I'm pretty sure that's lined up the right way. Yeah, that's that V there. And then this is the other part that's a little more narrow, and that's a little rough. Okay, so I'm just going to turn this over. This is right here. I'm going to just hold my finger there, and I'm going to kind of line it up with that line there. So it's going to be close as I could get right now, which is, it's just fine. I just didn't want to be like totally off. Like I said, not that it matters a whole lot. It's okay. It's all right. Good morning, Karen. Oh, nice and sunny in Utah. Oh, send some of that sun this way. Actually, we're going to have a beautiful day tomorrow, so we'll be fine. We have to share the sun. We have to share the sunshine. Share the sunshine. Try to say that fast. Okay, so look how quickly that all went. Bam. Now, also, when putting this back in, sometimes if your circle is irregular, it might not fit in there all that well. So, like, you might have a little dip, but this looks like it's pretty uniform. Doesn't seem like it's, off shape in a little bit. But if it were, I think I've shown this to some of you before, I would put, let's say it really fits, say this way. Okay, fits in there best. I would take a Sharpie, put a little mark on the rubber stamp here, and also on the mark on the background piece here. So there I could say, okay, it fits best like that. Otherwise, it might be wonky. I might be trying to, which way does it go? So I'm always trying to make things a little bit easier. There's enough things that we stress about otherwise. Okay, so there we go. This can be thrown away unless you have some of the old stamps that are what they used to call clear mount. They had a different decal that's more glossy. If you look at these are a little bit more of a matte look to them. And these are the ones that are mostly sticky. They say cling stamp. These are the ones Stampin' Up! Sells now. A little while ago, years ago, they went to a clear mount, kind of a stamp that goes on the box, but the decal was glossy and it was sticky a little bit at first, but then after a while, it would lose its stickiness and it wasn't quite as strong. So what I do with some of my old stamps is I will take some of this and put some little strips on the back of my, like over those other decals that don't cling so much anymore. So I would take this and put it on the back of those so that they work just as well as these do now. So sometimes I would save some of these and then until I run out. This one is particularly nice because it has a nice big border down here, but you just don't want to use the ones that the pieces that have the words down here. But you don't need a whole lot. Now, for instance, if I just cut this piece off here, I could use that on a circle. So it doesn't have to be perfect because you're not going to see it. And you want just enough that's going to be able to hold the stamp onto your block. So if you have some of those older cling, not cling, these are cling. If you have those older, what they call clear mount, then you might want to save a few of these to make them work better for you. Okay. All right. So I have a bit of a confession. As you can see, I just put the stamp set together and I'm using it today, right? So I don't have a card ready that I have one a sample to show you. And when I was looking at this stamp set and the designer paper, I was really struggling because there's so much you can do with it. Not so much that it's like, oh, gee, I have no clue what I have too many clues, too many. So it's almost like anything can work with this paper, absolutely anything, because of the nature of it. It is natural, has a lot of leaves and woven textures, obviously. So many things to mix and match with it. You can put so many different patterns together and they work. And just because the natural tones, the grays, the blacks, the browns, the beige, the crumb cake, they all work well together. It's not like when you have some of the other designer papers, well, this floral print doesn't work the same with this floral print, or these colors don't work well together. Anything goes with this. So that's where I was struggling. I was looking at so many ideas and I don't know what to do. I really don't know what to do. So let's just kind of wing this together. And it's been a busy weekend and I was like, whoa, I was stressing out a little bit. I don't know what to do. But I figured, let's do it together. We're all friends here, right? And we'll whip some things together. Okay, speaking of whipping things together, every once in a while, I'm going to put up on a Wednesday, a Whip It Up Wednesday. I've already done 2 installments of it. There will be another one coming this Wednesday where you can just do a really quick card. I have a lot of ideas for super, super quick and easy cards, and sometimes we need those, right? So check out Wednesdays. I'm not committing to doing it every single Wednesday, but if I do get to do that, they are pre-recorded, so don't worry about missing it live. All right, they might seem live as I'm talking freely to everybody, but I know they are pre-recorded and usually about 15 minutes or so. So you need to whip up a quick card, check those out. Okay, Whip It Up Wednesday, I call it. All right, so the textured notes pairs with the textured notes dies, which are these. I'm going to split my camera now so that you can see my desktop more fully. There we go. All right, so you could see these have beautiful patterns on them from woven looks, obviously, to go with textured notes and woven textures and lines and squiggles and stitching and variety of nesting sizes, which is really awesome. And then it can also be paired with botanical textures paper, which is just all black and white. And grays. Okay, you wouldn't necessarily think to do leaves and whatever in black and white and gray, but I think it really works, and you can get some stunning cards with it. Okay, some more black backgrounds, some more white backgrounds. There's the back. And then here's the back of that. You have 6 different patterns with 2 sheets of each. Okay, and I think because it is such strong prints and strong colors, you don't need a lot of it to make a nice focal point on your card. So this is going to really last you a long time, especially some of these, more, I'm going to call them grungy looks. Okay, so, good for backgrounds, but again, you don't really need a whole lot. Okay, so that's the Botanical Textures right here. No, so far. Oh, thank you. You're so sweet. All right, so basically when you make a card with that, black and white, that's all you need. And like I said, you can do stunning cards with that. Now, with the other paper that coordinates with this, again, online exclusives, woven textures, absolutely gorgeous. Like I said, they're great for masculine cards, but of course, goes for anybody. It makes me think of, sitting on the porch on a nice, deck chair or something like that. So, nice triangular shape here. Can you see the detail on this? There we go. This looks so real. It feels like I could touch it and feel that texture. It is just amazing. The shading on it. Well, it is photographed. Okay, when they do these, they actually photograph these weaves, and then you can really appreciate all the detail. Okay, then you have this one, which I guess that one is technically wicker, right? Okay, crisscross weave on that. This one, look at this. You want a motion. Obviously, you're not going to use the whole 12 by 12 on a card, but you can use part of it and get an arch, just a feeling of movement. And look how it's darker on the outside and then lighter on the inside. If you scrapbook, it's a great starter for a page, or you can just use the middle part where if you want that center going on there, that spiral look there. So you can do that. This one has 4 different designs. I mean, yeah, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 different designs, and the 3 of each. So you still get 12. Most of the packages you get 6 different designs and 2 of each. So here you have 3 each of 4. Still adds up to 12, right? Multiplies to 12. All right, now the backs of these, let's take a look. Again, more weaves, like a burlap kind of a look there. See, this is what I mean. They can all work together. Okay, this one, just a thicker weave there. And then this one, more of a linen look. That might be hard to see on the camera. There you go. This is the softest one. And then this one here. Oh, there you go. There's definitely wicker, right? Okay, so you see what I mean? They could all work together. You can put all 4 or 8 of these on a card and it's all going to work. Okay, just a quick mishmash of all those. Let me get this back in here. By the way, these pockets are from Stamp and Storage, and Stamp and Storage is having a sale. They always have a sale on something. Right now, the pockets and some other items are on sale. So if you'd ordered from them before, then make sure you check that out. If you like the pockets, I think the magnet cards are on sale, which I also use. I like to put them on for all my dies. If you've never ordered from them before, I can give you a code which you would get 10% off your very first order. So that might help you out a little bit too. All right, so the colors on here, basic beige, crumb cake, early espresso, gray granite, and pecan pie. Oh, I didn't pull out the pecan pie. What do you know? All right, well, I think I have enough colors to go with that. Now, I've seen also, if you want some highlight of some color, we could easily pull in some blues, because blue is kind of like, okay, then the alternate natural color, right? It's the color of the sky, it's the color of the sea, the earth is green and blue. So you can pull in greens and blues with this very easily. For instance, here's some misty moonlight. That could work very well, right? And also another one that I really like with this is the pretty peacock. Okay, more of that turquoise look to mix in with these. So let's see where we can go with this. It can go anywhere. I know once I get started, I'm just going to be, crazy whipping them all out. But let's start with just doing a little stamping first rather than all DSP. And so I'm going to get a quarter sheet. I'm just calling it a quarter sheet. It's 5 1/4 by 4. So it's a top layer, what we typically use. And let's do, I don't know, how about, well, let's go with the browns first. The beiges and the browns first. All right, so I'm going to get out. I didn't get my inks yet. Hold on. Okay, here's our color palette. Crumb cake, pecan pie, basic beige, early espresso. So let's just kind of make a little collagey look here with, where did I throw the stamps at? Here we go, over here. Okay, I'm going to take this circular weave first. And maybe I'll take this other weave here, and we'll do the leaves in a little bit. Let's get out some blocks. Take that up. And let's try that with crumb cake first. I'm going to kind of work this so that I'm going to work in the sort of the lower left quadrant to put some of these elements together. Okay, so look at that. That's nice, right? Okay, this, by the way, measures 1 7/8, and their Stampin' Up! Is selling now new a 1 7/8 inch circle punch, which is not available at the moment. Okay, so I think there was some problems with it, so it's not quite ready yet. Something with, sometimes it has to do with shipping and or some manufacturing logistics. Okay, it's like logistics, but 2-inch could work. I'm not going to punch this out, but I just want to show you, if you did want to do this, you would have a little bit of a border, which might be okay. If I was putting this on white, I would be okay with that. If I was putting this on a color, I wouldn't want so much of a white border. But once we get the 1 7/8 inch punch, it would go right to the edge of that image there. Okay, let's take maybe some, I like this one in the darker. Let's try the early espresso. And I might pull some of this up right over here. Looking for sort of that collage look. Oh my gosh, that came out really, really dark. I wasn't expecting that. I must have inked it up fairly recently. How about that? Wow. Surprise, surprise. Well, let's see where we can go with this. All right, we're winging it here. All right, and then let's see, maybe let me just see if we can, if I don't like it, I'll turn it over. We'll start over. See if we can see how it comes out in pecan pie. We'll put one down here, maybe. Let's see. Okay. Kind of neat. And then we have our leaves. We have sentiments. We have I'm going to maybe stamp this one in the background lightly. Let me see how that's going to come out with, let's see, that was crumb cake. Now this one already has some shading on it, so I'm going to consider that. Let's try it on some scrap paper first and go from there. I like the fact that we have two different styles of leaves to play with. Okay, let's try with crumb cake, or I wonder if the basic beige, I'll do the beige first because it's lighter. Let's see what works best. Sometimes I forget about basic beige. All right, it first comes, it's sort of a greenish. Right now it looks really green, but as it soaks into the paper, it will soften up a little bit. Not quite so green, but I do kind of like that, even if it does stay green. All right, and then let's see what it looks like in crumb cake. I might just stick to the beige, that greenish look to it. I haven't used this ink pad in a while. Okay, let's try the crumb cake next to that. Okay, so even just using those two as a little grouping on a card could be really nice, right? Let me clean that off. I'm going with the basic beige, or the greenish beige, whatever you want to call that. Okay, hi Debbie, good morning. Not terribly late, that's okay. I'm just kind of playing here today. I'm winging it. We had a bunch of family things going on. So it's been a crazy day. And like I said, I was stressing out and I said, all right, just going on. We're just going to wing it. What's the other option? I don't come on at all, right? So at least we can be together. I love that. Okay, so now let me close up my ink pads here. So this was espresso. It almost came out black, right? Really, really surprised with that. I might actually keep the espresso for my sentiment. Let's see how that goes. I might even just cut this down a little bit to make this a layer on another card with one of those woven backgrounds there. So we're just going to make this as all stamped. Nothing else fancy about it. Let's choose one of the sentiments. I'm going to just do thank you to keep it small and keep my options open for the size. So sometimes I start with a particular layout. Oh, I know I want this size layer with on this size something else. But then sometimes something like this, I'll go with the image first and then see how it's going to fit on the card. Oh, phooey. Okay, spot for an embellishment, right? Or a ribbon of some kind. That's okay. We're just playing. It's all right. So let's see which DSP we can use here now. And we can put this on another layer, right? So any of these could work. It's amazing. Okay, because we have the darker ones there, we have the lighter things there. This could work. That's kind of nice too, right? Something more subtle. Any of these, it's crazy. I don't know if I like that one so much, but all right, I think I'm going to go with one of these tones here. That's kind of neat. Or the dark one, or this. This one's kind of in between, and it kind of picks up on that pecan pie. Let's just go with that, see what happens. Okay, I have my card base. Here. I have a cello bag full of my card bases, so I don't have to do that. Yeah, or no, let's use maybe a crumb cake. With that, and then that on top of it, perhaps. Or should we do white? Is that too much white? Yeah, that might be too much white. Let's go a little bit more natural looking there. Okay, so I have one of those cut already. We'll burnish with our bone folder, and I will cut this down to 5¼ by 4. Okay, running out of room here. No matter how much desk space you have, you can always use more, right? But then it's more to clean up, more to clutter, more to clean up. Okay, and there's my fold over here. I'll do that. And I'm going to cut this down a little bit. I want a good amount of this to show. So this is 5¼ by 4. So typically if you wanted just the next layer down, it would be 5 by 3¾ but then that wouldn't leave much of that nice pattern to show. So I'm going to cut this down a bunch more. So I'm going to start by going to 4¾ by 3½, as long as I have the room there. But you know what? It doesn't have to be a regular size either. Let's see, 3½ would be here. So that gives me that space. And then 4¾ and then see, that gives me enough of that pattern to show. But then one other thing that we could do is put another layer in here. I wonder if this would work up here. Or if I cut this down to avoid some of that. Okay, you know what? This is what we're going to do. So you get to see my thought process, or you get to be in my brain. Okay. Cold, wet day in Vermont. Yeah, it's kind of here. I don't know if it's cold, but anyway, I'm going to try to cut some of that off there. It's okay if I cut some of this off. I'm all right with that. Then I'm going to put another layer of a different DSP in there too. We're going to overlap them. Okay. Cut less. You can always cut more. All right, then I'm going to trim this down a little bit so it's a little closer. Okay, so now we have, I'm not even concerned about what the measurement of this is because I'm going to mat it anyway. So this happens to be, wow, 3½ by 3¼ Who would have thought it's an actual rounded off size? Okay, and I want to put this over here. I'm going to mount this maybe with some early espresso because that's the darker color I have here. My box of early espresso. I thought I did. Well, that's okay. I'll just cut more. Always more where that came from. Or maybe I'll do black. Let me see. This looks so black to me. It's amazing. But let me try some black instead. Okay, that's a little too small. Don't worry, I've got plenty of scraps here. Okay, that's just a little small. Oh. So my early espresso paper fell to the floor. Okay, so this was 3¼ so I'll go 3½. And the other was 3½. I'll go to 3¾ See, sometimes you don't know till you actually put the card together. Of course, this is like nothing I've seen that I wanted to do before. Who would have thought? Okay, so we'll do that. Now I'm going to pull in one of those other DSPs. I'm going to go across this way. So let's find, maybe we can pull in the one that looks like this in the darker color for some contrast. I think that would look nice. I'm going to go this way with it. So let's start with maybe 1¼ but I have a whole pack of the DSP. I don't mind cutting it up and chop that and, All right, so this one doesn't work. I'll just put it in the pile of scraps and we'll start over. Okay, so that kind of pulls in some of those elements there too. So I'm going to cut this to the same size as that. And so that's going to be 5 1/4. And we have just that little bit more interest there. So let's glue this down. And I guess raise the black layer up on dimensionals, right? Get just a little bit more definition to that. We'll glue this down. Put this across. Should I do it right in the middle or should I bring it down lower? Ooh, maybe so not so like even, little offset. I think down lower looks good, don't you? I think I'll do that. So it's in between this one and this one, which is that same pattern. All right. Decision made. Let's throw it on the floor first. Come. Let's go flying. Just go flying. Okay, so let's measure again. Approximately there. You know what? This might be a weird thing, but for some reason, I think this looks better in this direction. You wouldn't think, right? But for some reason, my eye is perceiving that this is the top. I don't know. I'm using my grid paper to try to make this straight. Put dimensionals on the back of this. I think I mentioned in one of my other videos that the black dimensionals come in a combo pack. You have some mini and you have some big. I end up using the big ones more often. So right now I have a whole bunch of minis. And I was very tempted to order more. I said, nope, I'm going to make sure I just use up all my minis or most of my minis before I order more. I just can't have too many of the minis around. So you also have the edges that you can cut. You don't have to peel off too many of the minis. I will put a couple in there just to support the center. Okay. Is anybody else? Hi, Tina. Good to see you from Maryland. She's much more west from me. So we've never met in person, Tina. Hopefully someday. Okie-dokie. If I ever get out to Deep Creek again, I know that's nearby. If you're ever in the Baltimore area, give me a shout out. Okay, so there we go. We'll do that. Looks cool, right? Kind of neat. Now, there are some natural matte dots that coordinate with this. So let's bring some of those in. Unfortunately, that's kind of high up there. I don't know if I could cover that. But it's my sample. Forgive me. I'm going to bring in some of the black just to offset some of the black that's on here. You have 2 different sizes of white, black, beige, and the pecan pie. Is that going to be stupid up there? Probably, right? Unless I do here, here, and here. Yeah, I was going to put some over here. A mini one there and there. I don't know. Might be a little wonky. Let's see. Let's see. No, I might try that anyway. Who knows? Okay. Only you and I know the difference. Yeah, I can see a little bit up there, but I didn't want to weigh on the edge anyway. So there's one. Let's see what else we can do. I'm going to show you how by using a lot of these different patterns together can make a really stunning card. So then we're going to actually use some of those that bigger leaf pattern too, which I just love that. I just think it's just gorgeous. All right, so there's one. Now, when I was doing another card for a swap, I was left with these inside rectangles from cutting out these frames here. So this is what I had done. I had two of these frames that I ran through my die cut machine together because I wanted this to cut out of my layer, and then I wanted to have just a single frame. I don't have that on hand right here right now to show you, but I'll show you that another time. But anyway, so I was left with the part that this cuts out. So I have a whole stack of these that I can make some fun cards with, ready to go, or I could put my sentiments on there, whatever. So when you stack your frames, you can get some extra pieces for the cards. That's fun. Okay, so then let's try. I'm going to cut a few different strips. And we already have that one. Cut a strip here, and I'm going to go down to 1 inch. I'm going to cut this to 1 inch. Okay, I could use this for the inside of a card. I'm going to save that. Let's pick out a couple other patterns. We have, here we go. These guys. The designer paper is thinner than cardstock, so, and I just have a brand new blade on my trimmer, so I'm confident I can do 2 at a time. I don't always, but because it's brand new, I think I'm good. Now we have the backs of these as well. So I'm going to cut these down to, well, let me just cut them in half to 6 right now. And then I'll see what size I want to use. I'm going to show a couple ideas here. Okay, so look to see how just by putting these all together, they look so nice. That could be, done on that could be your card. And so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to take a layer. And we're going to cover that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6, of course. Right here, this is 5 1/4 going across. So I'm either going to be, I might be short a little bit on either end, but I would start in the middle. Let me see what order I want to do here. Let's put that in between. All right, that's kind of good. Okay, so actually, let me just choose 5 of these. Oh, hard to eliminate one, right? It really is. Well, maybe take out that one because these are the stronger of the prints anyway. All right, so we're going to stick to 5. I'm going to cut this down to 5. And then, so that would be 3 3/4 this way. We're taking off 1/4 inch on both sides. And then we're going to layer these across. So I'm going to use my grid paper up at the top. So this is going to line up to 2 like just past the 2.5. Okay, so wait, no, I'm sorry, that's 2.5 right there. Yeah, I know it's hard for you to see way up there. My camera doesn't go that far. Actually, I can move this up a little bit, perhaps. All right, there we go. So my center is here, 2.5 and 2.5. I'm going to go in this order, I believe. Should I do the darkest one in the middle? Maybe I should do that. Maybe mix these around a little bit. Okay, but these two are kind of on the darker side. Hard to know. You know what? I'm not going to think about it. Don't stress over it. All right, so I'm going to do this here. I'm going to line up this one in the middle. And so this is going to be 3 3/4. I'll cut all those down to 3 3/4. Or I could just lay them across and trim it off the bottom at the end. But there might be less waste if you cut ahead of time. Okay, so 3 3/4. Uh-oh, what happened here? Oh, that one wasn't a full 6 inches. That's why. Silly me. Here we go. Oh, this one, 3 3/4. Okay. Thanks for hanging in here today with this craziness. And then here, a lot going on. I have an order coming today with some new products that I couldn't order during the pre-order. Stamp It Up has just a shortened list of things that we could order when we are ordering ahead of time. Okay, see, I messed this up here. All right, so this is the one I want here, the one that's on the back here. So I placed my order and I expedited it, so it's coming today. Can't wait to see. I get to. I'm very anxious to see the Kintsugi stamp set. You know, with the broken pottery and the gold elements. I'm very excited to see that. I ordered the whole suite. It comes with the dies. It comes with dies that make the cracking, the gold cracking in the vases and everything. Oh my gosh. So excited. All right, so I'm lining this up 2.5 on either side. I'm going to place this right in the middle. Love the grid paper for these reasons. It isn't just protecting my desk. It's helping me line everything up just right. Okay, 1/2 inch on either side. That'll do it. There we go. And then let's see how I did this. Okay, that works. No, I'm going to do it this way. Yep, I like that better. Like I said, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter a whole lot. Sometimes you just have to stop yourself from thinking too hard. Otherwise, you never get everything done. Like the Nike logo, just do it. Just do it. This is amazing. I just I love this. So even though this is sort of masculine colors and it could be a very rustic looking card, add a few floral elements to it and it could all be good. I'm going to put this way, curving inward. Okay, there we go. Then let's map that on another one of our papers here. Let's do a fallen espresso. I think that will be a really nice border there. So this was 5 by 3 3/4. So we're going to go 5 1/4 by 4. And layer that right on there. Now I could have just put the DSP right onto here, but I think this adds just a little bit more depth, and also it makes it a little firmer and a little easier for me to then put it on my next layer here. Okay, so another thing you can do is put these on diagonally. And if I had time, I would show you that. But I will maybe make up some other cards. Maybe not this weekend, but I have a lot going on. May is a very busy month, right? A lot of people have graduations, recitals, sporting events, I don't know, end of year trips and whatever. So yeah, it's crazy. All right, so here we're going to put this on white. This would look really nice with vanilla too, wouldn't it? Okay, so either a white background or vanilla. And then you can either just add a sentiment, or let's add that big leaf that I was showing you before. Big leaf spray branch, whatever you want to call it. What would you call that? A sprig. Okay, here we go. That. Use this block here. I know this one's a little big, but whatever. All good. And then I'm going to want a sentiment, little note of appreciation, I think would work. You are seriously the best. That could be nice too, but let's just do this one. Go to my scraps of white. And I will put that there. We'll stamp that in the espresso. And sometimes, depending on how heavy your hand is, if you put your sentiment on diagonally, sometimes you're a little less apt to rock it by accident. You know, it depends on how big the stamp is. All right, now I'm just going to cut this like that. I'll trim the bottom just a little bit more. See, these kind of things, you don't have to have a precise measurement. Just go with it. And then I will put a little angle cut on the side here. And we will stamp our leaf over there. Bigger piece of scrap. Now there are no dies to cut these out, so just we have to fussy cut them. Okay, so we're going to put our leaf over here, and then we could do that. I don't know, I might try two different things here. Let's try that basic beige. See, this one still came out against the white. It still has that greenish tone to it, which the paper does too, but it just looks a little more beige than the paper itself. So let's try the basic beige again. And I'm going to fussy cut that and pop that up. Okay, so now the only thing with the fussy cutting, which is one thing that I had said before, I'm not going to be able to get into and remove all those white pieces. So if that bothers you, then maybe fussy cutting that is not for you. But let's try another option, see which one we like best. All right, I'll clean this off and we'll try this maybe in another color. Let's see, let's try the pecan pie. And maybe I'll just keep it on a rectangular piece and layer it on here. So you'll see what we like best, okay? Okay, here we go. So I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so fussy cutting this. And have the white border. And I'll just do a rough job here and then I'll neaten it up later because I know this is not perfect to my liking. I do like it fussy cut, but I personally would just put it on the white, or if you stamped on vanilla, do that. Sometimes you see cards, you say, yeah, no, it looks okay. I can't bring myself to doing something. You know, it's okay. It's your card. You do what works for you. I mean, you could super fussy cut it, I suppose, but you're still going to have white border, even if you got way in between those leaves. Okay, so like I said, not perfect, but we're going to look at the idea. Okay, so like I said, what I don't care for is having that white in between, but if you were putting it on something white, then you don't really see that, right? So that would be an option for another card. Or putting it on this frame that's already cut out could be the option, right? That could be something to do like that, I suppose. But let's just cut this down and mount it and see how that goes. All right, so this might be, ends up being 2.5 wide by 3.25. Okay, that looks nice. We can overlap it either way. Maybe I'll cut it down a little further and just add another mat to it. See, just kind of play along as you go. I'm going to cut 1/8 of an inch off each side. That one doesn't really need it, does it? All right, let's see. Okay, that works okay. Let's do another espresso layer. That looks really sharp. I like that. Okay, so we'll do 3.25 by, this is now, okay, we'll go 2.5. And we got a nice, really thin border there that I like. Really shows up the white better. All right, so see, this is kind of how you can work with it all. I do love seeing these diagonally. You can do half the card diagonally, then put something else over here. Oh my gosh, there's just so many options. Too many options. I'm going to put this down with dimensionals. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, see the little ones. they're great that you can get them around to more places, but then you have more dimensionals. Luckily, the backs come off pretty easily. Okay, so here we go. Lovely. This would look nice with linen thread wrapped around, keeping with that natural look. Okay, brand new roll starting here. And sometimes it's like, good luck finding the edge. There it is. And I'm going to keep it nice and loose and wonky. Have a lot of thread hanging around the outside. Tie a knot. Don't need a bow. Adding to more texture, right? Okay, I'll trim that. And we're done. And my dimensionals coming off. It's okay, they're still sticky. Got that there. And then we'll do our sentiment. Okay. Lost it. Anyway, you get the idea. What happened to that? It's been one of those days. It was right here, right? Oh well. We'll just stamp it again. We're good. There we go. Much better. Bring that down a little. Make the batter cut, angle cut. Then I will put that over top. Or tuck it under. Either way, I'll glue it down. Much quicker right now. Here we go. So anyway, I can't wait to play more with these because I just think those are just so beautiful. Just so nice. And using the frame dies with some of these patterns here, it's just so pretty. If I can find a small piece, I will do one up for you quick. Oh, here we go. Here's that burlappy looking one. Now, it might not show up a whole lot with the pattern, but it does make a difference. It really does. All right, which side should I do? I'll do this side. All right, so I'm going to put that on here. I'm going to add some washi tape. Now, here's one more thing I want to say, a piece of advice before I go. Every once in a while, check the screw on the handle of your cut and emboss machine. I went to take it out this morning, about 20 minutes before going live, and the handle just popped right off because the little Allen nut in there gets a little loose. So let me just show you every once in a while. Can you see this? Take off this little rubber stopper. I was noticing it was getting a little loose because I was using it a lot. Inside here is a little nut that you can use, little Allen wrench that came with your machine, and just tighten it up every once in a while before it just falls off. And then and make sure you know where that Allen wrench is. I keep it in a little baggie, and I used to keep it with some of my tools like screwdrivers and pliers and things like that. And then sometimes I left it in a drawer where I had my plates and whatever things that are dedicated to my cut and emboss machine. So I was looking and said, oh, I moved it recently. I said, where did I put it? I'm not sure. So I was scrambling. That was another piece of stress this morning. So, all right. So between my two lucite plates, I'm putting it on an angle so that it rolls through more easily. So that point goes through first. And again, this is going to be hard to see on camera, but there is a really nice woven pattern on there. Even though it's on a woven look here, it does look nice in person to have that extra texture going on there. So layer them with different patterns of these rectangles, and again, you've got a beautiful card. I wish I had more time this weekend to play and show more, but look online. There's a lot of examples out there. Just Google woven textures or botanical textures or textured notes, and you'll see some other fabulous designs there. Let me bring back these. I'll show you what we did today. Thanks for hanging in and just winging it with me. And I hope you're kind of inspired to do some of your own, maybe order the set, the paper, whatever floats your boat. All right. So those people who ordered paper shares from me, once my order comes today, I'll be cutting those up and getting them out probably by Monday. And then you guys should have some of this paper as well. All right. So anyway, okay. Thank you, Cindy. Yeah, Father's Day coming up. Very true, Cindy. You're right. Good for the dads. Even a thank you or a little note of appreciation for being such a great dad or father or whatever, and yeah. So like I said, I wish I had more time to play with very busy weekends. We got a piano recital. We've got family coming for dinner. I've got gardening to do and, stuff like that. So I've got swaps to make, thank you cards to make. But anyway, I hope you have a great weekend. Fun crafting in store. Happy Mother's Day to all of you that are moms out there. And thanks for watching, whether it's the replay or you're watching live today. I appreciate all of your support of my small business and just our stamping community. It's just so fun for me to be able to have all of you to share stamping with. I wish we could be in person at some point, but this is the next best thing, right? All right, guys, take care. We'll talk to you again soon. Enjoy. Bye-bye.